So hi everyone, how are you? Thank you so much for being here today and really appreciate your time and effort. Honestly, it's a little bit pressure to present after Dr. Proves, but I try my best. Okay, so my name is Dinh, and I'm from Qualcomm. I'm a senior manager and leading the global business of New Payment Initiative. Okay, so raise your hand if you ever heard of Qualcomm or know what we are doing. Oh, perfect. It's more than I can expect, right? So basically, Qualcomm is a semiconductor business company, and we provide the chipset inside millions of devices that you are using right now. I'm pretty confident that the majority of the phone that you are using right now in this room will have Qualcomm chipset. And in payment industry, basically, we account for 70% of the global Android POS and payment terminal, right? But that's enough about Qualcomm, right? For me, I have a background about, I think, 10 years in fintech, banking, fintech, and technology. Before Qualcomm, I worked for a bank, a commercial bank in Vietnam, leading their credit card business and also some AI initiative over there. Then I went to the US, get my MBA, get hired at Qualcomm, and leading their payments and new payment initiative business at Qualcomm globally. Okay, so for today, I want to touch on a very interesting topic, which is biometrics payment. And I hope that my presentation can give you a high-level understanding about what it is, why it matters, what are the opportunities, the challenge, the security gaps, and how we can work together to bring it to the real life, to prepare and enhance the customer experience. So let's start with that. So let's take one step back about the core, the baseline of all the innovation we are working over the last decades, right? It's all have to come from one thing and only one thing, customer demand. You have to do something that's meaningful to your customer, to your merchant, to your end user. And we have done a research with a top consulting firm, and we come up with 3 things that customers want in the digital adoption era. First, convenient, trust, and secure. They want everything to be fast, seamless, easy and safe whenever and wherever they want it. Second, personalization. They want the bank to understand them. They want the store to recognize them and provide personalized option, personalized product for them whenever they come back to the bank or the store. And last but not least, entertainment, right? Gen Z, millennial has become one of the biggest population in terms of demand for us, for our business, and they want something fun. They don't want to be scared when they walk into the bank, right? They want to have a lot of fun, a lot of cool things, because that's what used to when they try, TikTok, when they try Facebook, when they try Instagram. So make sure your service provides some factors of entertainment for your customer. So whatever I'm going to present, and I believe whatever we're going to do in the past few years, in the near future, have to resolve around those pain points and those, demand from the customer. So let's talk about payment modality evolution. Right? Cash was invented, I think, 200 years ago. And then we have checkbook, and then we have credit card. And credit card, we have different, way of doing that, right? We swipe, we dip, and then we tap. And after credit card, let's come QR code, right? Now QR code is so dominant, Asia, Vietnam, Thailand, China, right? And then after QR code, we have in-app payment. And here is my big belief. The next thing gonna coming will be biometrics. And the reason is all about convenience, right? Imagine what you need to have, only need to have one thing to do QR code payment, or in-app payment, or credit card payment. Is it your card or your phone? But what if you forget those card or your phone in a bad day, right? You just be yourself and present at the store, and all you have is yourself. So you can pay with your face, your voice, or your palm. So from the convenience perspective, I think that's why biometrics is coming into the picture. Another trend that I realize and I see is already popular now is that we are trying to enable more devices that were not initially designed for accepting payment, but turn that into a accepting payment. MPOC, CPOC, softbox, right? Basically, we turn any Android-based device into a payment acceptance. And we are working with different merchants, with the brands, car brands, and also PCI, try to do that on multiple devices, like your phone, your wearables, your camera, even your car. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind for the new coming trend in payment. So the next question will be, how big is this opportunity, right? We are a company, right? We don't do non-profit. We have to do something that's really relevant and sustainable for our business. And I have been working for biometrics business for over 3 years. I flew all over the world, talking to, many people worldwide, right? And I realized I see it's coming. Biometrics payment will be a highly potential global business for all of us, and there are recent, positive signal in both developed and developing markets, right? On the numbers there, you can see about the value. I don't want to touch about that, but let's talk about use case. China is always ahead of the game for biometrics. They already enabled face payment 10 years ago, and now they have more than 500 million people try using that. And now they're shipping from face payment to palm payment. If you read the news, you can realize the new device from WeChat Pay use palm payment. In Asia, we have Japan, very interesting use case as well. Japan is actually one of the most successful solution provider for biometrics for all over the world. If you talk about face solution, you have to talk to NEC. If you want to do palm solution, you have Fujitsu in the game. But Japan, within their country, biometric adoption is not that good, mostly because in Japan, the country has so developed that people had already get used to with credit card, and they have some privacy concern for using their biometric template, right? And then we have the rising star, and I have to big US in the picture, because I think if US can do biometrics, anywhere in the world can do that. You know why? Because the regulation in US is so complex, right? Every state has their own regulation. And I think Amazon is taking on the heavy lifting from the beginning when they enabling, what happened with the slide? Okay, so Amazon, they have been the one pioneering in palm payment with the just walk out concept, and we are the one who support them behind the scenes. And until now, they have scaled the solution into 500 stores all over the US. And if I'm not miscorrectly, every year they have to deal with at least 1 or 2 lawsuits from the customer. But they said, okay, they do whatever it takes to scale biometrics. Another use case, if you notice in the slide previously, is Clear. Clear means it's a dominant player for access control at the airport. Basically, you can use your face to do authentication, and you can skip all the way on the long line and just go directly to the boarding gate. Okay? So that's a rising star. And I tell you this, I see the requests coming from all over the world now. We have the request from Latin America. We have the request from Middle East. We have the request from Australia. We have the request from New Zealand. And I just went back from India, yesterday, and I talked to Paytm, I talked to PyLab, I talked to NPCI, and they all agree we want to do pilot with biometrics and palm payment. So it is coming, right? And some trend that I want to highlight first is the e-gate border control, as I mentioned earlier with Clear. Now in Vietnam, right, if you notice, when you go into the emission border, you can see the e-gate over there. But honestly, even though I'm Vietnamese, I have to confess, the quality is a little bit, have a chance to improve there, but that's okay. That's the early stage. Second, we have the shift from face to palm, right? Some countries who never do face payment before, now if they consider doing biometrics, they will do palm, because there are certain advantages of palm over face, like more privacy friendly, more control for the consumer. Another trend that I really want to highlight is the all-in-one payment terminal. What is it? Imagine your current POS terminal is accepting card payment, right? Or QR payment. The new design will be able to accept face payment, palm payment, credit card payment, and QR code payment in one very simple design. And I will tell you, next quarter, 2025, the biggest bank in the world, starting with the J, you can get the name, they will announce their new device with this function. We call it super, payment terminal. So stay tuned and see that, okay? So that is something that I want to highlight from the trend. So we know, okay, this may be something we can consider, but who need to be involved from the ecosystem to make it happen? And I have to tell you, that's a very long list, because this is not easy, right? Nothing in payment world will happen overnight and happen easily. There are a lot of stakeholders, from hardware vendor, software vendor, AI vendor, merchant, gateway processor, the bank, regulator, Visa, EMV, MasterCard, PCI, and also the government of each country. They need to work together. But I don't want to scare you away from that. My point is that we need to work together to make it happen. And the good news is that over the last 2 years, we have tried to do the heavy lifting for you. So now you can leverage, what's already there in the market, what's already, built from those early adopters to make your deployment easier. Okay, so beside the ecosystem, what else that we have to bear in mind so we can grow biometrics payment in Asia? 3 things. First, consumer adoption. Whatever you do, you have to make it very easy, simplest, and attractive to the consumer. You have to have a very killer use case. You have to provide value to them, right? And sometimes you have to incentivize for them to try, right? Like WeChat Pay, when they launch palm payment, they will give bonus or discount for customers to try palm payment instead of face payment. Another important factor is solution and ecosystem readiness. When I say solution, I mean hardware and software, right? Software, for now, we can be quite okay because AI has been developed so well. So the capability of detect and capture the face of the palm in a good manner is there. The challenge with some merchant going to be the hardware. They don't want to build a new device, everything new, because it's costly, right? You have to offer something very affordable to the merchant. And the markets, and actually we are working with the banks and the early adopter to come up with some very interesting form factor. Imagine you have on the payment terminal in the field today. There is an option called retrofit model, with basically a camera accessory that can attach to the existing Ingenico Verifone or PAX terminal. And with that camera module, there is a chip inside that can help you to do biometric matching, capture, and process the payment through that chip. So a more affordable and easier to scale from the ROI perspective. And last but not least, regulator support. Right? So yesterday, I tried my best to talk to all the PCI team today, just to deliver one message. Because biometrics payment is coming all over the world. For now, it is okay because it's pilot, right? For pilots, everything's small, everything under control, and nobody, really care about will that violate something. But imagine when it's scaled. Right? We need to have unified security standards. We need to have unified security guidelines to make sure everybody do the thing in the same way and in the most secure way. I don't want 10 years from now, I do a project with Visa requirement and another project with MasterCard requirement, and eventually PCI come in and said, no, you have to do it another way. So I mean regulation support, right, from regulators, from government, from the state bank. That's very important factor for us as well. Okay. So let's talk about security. Because I know when it comes to biometrics, security is something that people really scare that it may, create a scandal or a data hack, and which may be something that nobody wants to resolve that. So I must say, and I have to admit, there are a lot of security threats for biometrics payment if you want to do that on a public device instead of your phone. That's the fact, right? But the nice thing is that because the early adopter, like the biggest bank in the world I just mentioned earlier, when they work with us and our partners, they already gave us I would say a long list of security requirements to make sure every single step, the image or your face or your palm capture, transfer, secure, matching, analyze, and storage will be fully protected in those journeys. And they make sure we have to deliver that for them before they can launch the device. So there are solutions over there, right? Another way to think about that is how about, to Bruce's point earlier, about centralized authentication, right? Imagine today, most of the data model will run on the cloud, right? And similar case for biometrics. You will see commonly people will do the matching model on the cloud. That means your POS, your camera will capture the image, but then it have to convert into the template, send to the cloud, do the matching, and say, the confirmation back to the terminal. And that is, how can I say, as long as there is transfer, there is transmission, there is communication, there is risk, right? Somebody can hack the device, somebody can hack the communication protocol, somebody can hack the internet, the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth. That's risk potential there. So on-device matching or centralized authentication, like Bruce mentioned earlier, is one way to resolve that. Imagine everything can happen on your chip, on your camera, on your POS, and never leave the device, right? And of course, there are other things like hardware security framework, tokenization, multi-factor authentication. I can speak about that the whole day. So if you are really curious about security, talk to me after this section. We can discuss more. And for those who are a little bit unfamiliar about on-device or edge device or edge AI, very simple explanation for you. Imagine you can bring your AI model to your device. Everything will happen on your device. Nothing will leave out the device. All you need is a good chip and a good software over there, right? And this can be safer, faster, better privacy, lower latency, lower cost, and even higher, lower power consumption. So before I conclude my talk, I want to summarize that 3 things I want you guys to take away from this brief discussion. First, biometric is coming. Whether you like it or not, it's coming. Because I'm the one who talks to people all over the world. And I see requests that more than I can handle now. Now I have to hire more people to support me. Because it's like so overwhelming all over the world, right? And second, I know it's challenging to do biometrics payment or any kind of new payment, right? Because you can see how long it takes for us to really scale and for people to adopt NFC and then QR code and then in-app payment. A lot of challenge there from ecosystem, effort, money, the team, security concern, privacy concern. Those are the challenges that we have to foresee. But I can tell you this, over the last 2 years, there are early adopters that already did some work to do the heavy lifting for you. So now you can leverage what is there. And I can give out 3 names. The biggest bank I mentioned earlier. There is another one from New Zealand, the only ally there. You can guess the name. They will do palm for access control to go to the gate. They will do palm to do duty-free shopping. They will do palm to carry, transfer the digital, passport so that you don't need to present your passport. And what's more beautiful is they will do palm for all the other additional service that you need to pay in the airline. So that airline will launch something soon next year. So look forward to that. And then go back to Amazon, right? The pioneering in palm payment solution. They already did a very good job, and if you try it, you get addicted to that. So I have a friend who went to the US, I think a couple of months ago, and he said, tell me, what's the most innovative product I can try in San Francisco? I said 2 things. You have to ride on the autonomous driving car. So in San Francisco now, you will see there is a car with nobody there. It's just going around the street. And second, go to Amazon just with our solution. You walk there, scan your palm, take whatever you like, and walk out. And no payment needed. No person, confronted needed. Everything happened with the amazing camera system over there and the palm payment template. This is already there. You can leverage what they already done to make your deployment easier, more affordable, and faster. And the last point is that I think, again, to my previous discussion, it will not happen overnight, and nobody can do that by themselves, right? I have to get support from PCI, I have to get support from Visa, MasterCard on the scheme, I have to get support from the banks, and I have to get support from merchant, lab, security provider, software provider, hardware provider, and also the end user to make it happen. Because it may take the whole village to enable and scale it. But I guess it's the same story for every innovation we have done before, right? Like QR code payment, NFC, credit card. So I really hope that maybe next year, in this forum, we can have more traction, more good news, and more adoption for biometrics payment. And I am Vu again. I'm from Qualcomm. This is my LinkedIn and WhatsApp and number. So feel free to reach out to me and discuss more about biometrics. Thank you so much for your attention. Yeah.